Come on and join us. We're gonna have a good time. Listen up, check us out. Use the hotline number to chime. Come on and join us. There's lots of surprise for you. Fun and family, with great fellowship too. Crystal and Shawn have exciting words. I'm sure there's something that you've never heard. Sunday at 6, it's an excellent mix. We got spiritual flair, special guests will be there. Come on and join us. We're here and waiting for you. Connect with us at 6 o'clock. We wanna share in all you do. Come on and join us. Come right here and find. Connect with us and share your thoughts. We wanna explore your mind. Chattitudes, Chattitudes.
What's your attitude?
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 Come on and join us. We're gonna have a good time. Listen up, check us out. Use the hotline number to chime. Come on and join us. There's lots of surprise for you. Fun and family, with great fellowship too. Crystal and Shawn have exciting words. I'm sure there's something that you've never heard. Sunday at 6, it's an excellent mix. We got spiritual flair, special guests will be there. Come on and join us. We're here and waiting for you. Connect with us at 6 o'clock. We wanna share in all you do. Come on and join us. Come right here and find. Connect with us and share your thoughts. We wanna explore your mind. Chattitudes, Chattitudes.
What's your attitude?
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 Hello, and welcome to Chattitudes. We are so excited.
Yes, our first show, and we just want to say welcome, and we just want to thank all of our family and friends who's been so supportive. Thank you for your prayers and support. Thank you so much. This is our first show, of course, and it's on love and relationships. And before we get started, Crystal and I are going to tell a little bit about ourselves. But before we even do that, let me just say that today's show is being sponsored by Fonville and Associates Financial Services. You can reach them or contact them and get some information on Facebook on their page, or contact Shelby Fonville at 240-346-7430. Thank you so much. So let me give you a little bit of information about myself. As most of you know, my name is Shawn Hawkins. I am a DC native, born and raised in DC Northeast. And I grew up in DC, migrated to Maryland. I work in DC. I have 2 children. I'm a single mom. I have a beautiful grandbaby. She's 1 years old, Callie.
Yes, we love her.
And I am a realtor licensed in Maryland with Sampson Properties. And I also work for a teachers union. So I have 2 jobs. And also I am a child of God. I attend New Home Baptist Church under the leadership of Pastor Bobby D. Hicks. I am a missionary there, and I also work with other ministries outside of New Home. So I'm pretty busy running around, which is all good. To God be the glory. And we're here as with this new project, Chattitudes. So just to give a little bit of background on how we got started here, I'm actually a domestic violence survivor. And so I was actually here in the studio as a guest on the Mignon show. And so I think she had a part 1, part 2. And so in between both of those shows, Chris and I, we were talking, as we usually do some mornings on the way to work. And she was like, Shawn, I just had got a revelation. I really think we should have our own show because we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to share, and there's just a lot that we can offer the community. And I was like, wow, that's amazing, because I was actually thinking the same thing. I had just thought about it maybe like the day or 2 before. So even with us talking about that, I was a little nervous because this is really out of my comfort zone. So I had to go pray about it, which I did because I was very nervous, just very uncomfortable. So I asked God, is this what you would have me to do? Because I don't want to do anything without being out of the will of God. So he gave me a peace about it. And so here I am today. But I am just grateful that he's stretching me, because in stretching me, I'm growing. And I'm just grateful that I'm able to do this with my sister friend, Crystal.
All right. Well, thank you, Shawn. But I'm going to tell you right now, this is not out of my comfort zone. I love this.
Exactly.
I absolutely love this. And what better platform to be here with than with my sister, Shawn. I'm going to tell you about how this actually got started. I'm going to tell you all about what Chattitudes actually mean. How did we come up with the name Chattitudes?
Yeah.
I will tell you this. Chat means an informal conversation. Attitude has everything to do with your way of thinking. See, how we think determines where we go. Our attitude determines our altitude. And I heard that over and over again in school. I did not know what that meant at the time. But as you grow, as you get older, you understand that everything starts with a thought. So I love this quote. Watch your thoughts, because your thoughts become your words. Watch your words, because your words become your actions.
Amen.
Watch your actions, because your actions become your habits. Watch your habits, because your habits become your character. And watch your character, because your character becomes your destiny. To sum it all up, everything starts with a thought.
Amen.
If you want to do something bad, it starts with a thought. If you want to do something good, it starts with a thought.
Amen
Everything, the Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he.
Amen.
So it's very important that we understand what our attitudes are. We understand what our perspective is, because it really does matter. It results in what our behavior is. So that's how the whole idea of Chattitudes came in. I will tell you just a little bit about me. I'm not going to talk about me because this show is really not about us. It's really all about you and your perspective. But I will tell you that I am a minister. For many years, I performed throughout the country as a professional clown, believe it or not. But I'm actually an author. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. And I love life.
Amen.
I love living life. I get high off of life.
Amen.
And so we just want to bring a little bit of that to you. So what happens is every single morning, I get so many phone calls. So now I've become a counselor in the morning. So by 6 o'clock, I'm on the phone counseling people. By the time I get to my job, hopefully not on my lunch break, because someone might be looking at my job. So probably on my lunch break, I counsel people. And so on my way home, I counsel people. But what I realize is that we're more alike than we are different.
Amen.
So all the conversations are kind of the same. It's the same conversations. So this person having this issue, this person having this issue, but they're all the same issue. And so what better way to, instead of having this conversation with this person, so now I don't have to gossip about this person, but all your business is confidential with me. But now I don't have to talk to this person and talk to that person. Now we have a platform right here that everyone can just come and share all the same things that we're all going through, because if we're not going through it, then we know somebody who's going through it. If you haven't been through it, it's just a matter of time before you go through it. And so every single week, we've methodically planned out what's going to happen. We've methodically planned out life issues that people throw at us, that people on the phone throw at us. And so we're just really excited today. And so that's why we're here.
Yes.
Chattitudes. And I hope you loved our theme song, because our theme song, which is very interesting, was written and inspired by the Reverend Charlene Jordan from New Home Baptist Church. She had a revelation as to what the theme song would be. I mean, I said, we just need a jingle. We need a theme song. So she thought of the words, and so she wrote the words. And then we have a young guy. I mean, because I told you this show is about family, fun, and fellowship. So the people that we're using people that's close to us. We're using family. We're using a community. So a young guy, Julian Ransom, he actually came up with the beat. And then my daughter, who's not even a professionally trained singer, said that she would sing on the track. So then we have Julian, we have Diamond singing on the track. And then KP Music Production helped us to arrange it. We went into the studio. Our first time in the studio. We've never been in the studio before. Yes. And so then we came up with the theme song. And hopefully you tuned in right at 6 and you heard it. But you'll hear it again at the end. But it's very important, because I just want everyone to understand and to know that this platform is all about you. So we want you all to call in. We want you to dial in. We want you to be a part of the show. Right. It's clean, it's fun. And it's all about your perspective.
Yes, we want to hear from you.
We want to hear from you. And so,
and speaking of which, let me go ahead and give out the hotline number. The number to dial on the hotline is 240-719-2560. Again, 240-719-2560. And we also want you to go on YouTube and go to Box Wave and subscribe.
Yes.
Box Wave.
And subscribe.
And
so every week, right? So we've come up with this. So every week we're going to start out with the word of the week. So interestingly enough, and then so the word of the week this week, and I hadn't shared this with Shawn because I hadn't shared the word of the week. So I was going to use a word from the Webster Dictionary, right? So I was like, oh no, that's just too plain, because I was going to use a word, and I say, let's use the word in a sentence all week. Let's edify ourselves and let's build our vernacular. But no, I didn't go that route. So being from DC, I went to the Urban Dictionary. It's a cool dictionary. They have words of the day, and I try to stay pretty relevant and current and hip because my daughter is a millennial. We have millennial children, so we try to stay hip. So every time I say the word cool, my daughter actually says, if you use the word cool, that means you're not cool. I mean, so I try not to say the word cool. But anyway, I went to the Urban Dictionary, right? So I found this word. So our word of the week, and this is for you all that don't know, is called dry snitch.
Oh,
dry.
I remember that.
Dry snitch.
Yeah.
Dry snitch. Dry snitch means to indirectly snitch on someone without actually informing on someone. I'm going to tell you. So when I saw this, I was like, dry snitch. I'm going to tell you who's the biggest dry snitch ever is my mother. My mother... I love her dearly.
And I know she's watching.
And she's watching.
Yeah.
I know she's watching. But she's the biggest dry snitch because what she does is, so she always tells on my daughter. My daughter's staying with her. She always tells on my daughter. So what she does is she'll say, oh, I'm so tired today. Oh, why are you tired? Oh, I was just in there cleaning up that room. I was cleaning. So she dry snitching, telling me that my daughter hadn't cleaned the room. See, that's another topic because as millennials, if you have a millennial, they just don't clean the room if they still staying with you. They just don't clean the room. No. But my mother is always dry snitching. So that's a word for you. If you didn't know the word dry snitch, don't be a dry snitch. Yeah. I think that's where I'm going with this.
I used to hear that word a lot when I used to work for USDA. We used to have a couple of people who say, oh, they dry snitching. It was always the men.
Right, yeah. And see, it's always the man, yeah. So, and that's why we have a man actually in the studio with us today. We have a man, his name is Mr. DuShaun Harris. And he's going to be actually joining us in a little bit, and I'll introduce him when he actually comes up. And he's in the studio. We're trying to keep him kind of quiet until he comes up. But when he comes up, and we're gonna take a short commercial break. But when he comes up, we want you to call in, ask questions. We're gonna kind of fire some questions at him, from the man's point of view.
Right. Sorry. Yeah, and so one of the things that we want to pose the question to him, not only him, but also you. So please feel free to chime in by calling or even doing, I think there's they can make comments on YouTube. So the question we're going to pose coming back is, what are your thoughts on women proposing to men? That's one of the topics we're going to cover. Mm-hmm. So stay tuned, and we'll be back after this break.
Right, because it's a new trend going on. It's a new phenomenon. So we'll see you in a few minutes.
Okay.
All right. Well, welcome back. And on the set right now, we have Mr. DuShaun Harris. And I would say he's smiling really hard, but he just doesn't even know what's getting ready to happen to him. So DuShaun, like I said, Family Fun Fellowship. DuShaun is a family friend. He's a devoted husband for 27 years, a father of 4 sons. He's an Air Force veteran of 20 years and currently a Deputy Inspector General for the Department of Navy. Now, I was talking to Shawn, and Shawn said that he's going to speak for the single men and for the married men, because I'm married, Shawn's single, so we speaking from the women perspective.
Right.
And Shawn said that he got all the perspectives.
He got all the answers.
He got all the answers.
I got most of the answers. I was single for a little while. And then I was married for a little while. Then I got married for a long while.
Okay.
So I think I got some answers.
Okay. He
ready.
got the
Come on.
answers for all you single ladies. He has the answers, and so we just gonna start off with some questions. And the questions are not just for Shawn, actually. They're for all of us, they're for all of you. So you can chime in again. Our number 240-719-2560. Just call in at any time. But we're gonna start with some questions. We didn't see.
I want a caveat.
Okay.
These are my opinions and my opinions only. They are not
Yes.
facts.
Right.
It's how I think.
That's right.
So
And this is how all of us think. So this is a disclaimer.
Right.
Look, we're not love experts. We just ordinary people
Right.
with some and that's been in some situations.
Right.
So okay.
Speaking
So
from
that's the
life
disclaimer for
experiences.
everybody.
Yes.
Right.
So don't take our advice. We're not giving out advice. We just having conversation. We just having
Absolutely.
dialogue. Okay. So let's put that disclaimer out there for all of us. All right. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do
Let's
it.
have fun. Let's
All
do this.
right,
So,
people.
what are your thoughts on women proposing to men?
Well, honestly, seriously, like when I first heard the question, I sat back and pondered when we went into commercial break. And coming back, my thoughts on it was like this. It's like, I know the Bible tells us that a man findeth a woman. And so therefore, I believe that having a woman put herself in a position to actually decide that I need to help this man make up his mind. If a man is going to be in a position to lead a household and to lead a family and everything else, he has to make that decision. If a woman makes that decision to propose to him, she's putting him in a spot to actually answer a question that he's not ready to answer. And if he's not ready to answer it, then how is he ready to lead that household?
Amen.
So my thing is, I honestly think that women know that this might be the right man for them, but when that man hasn't made up in his mind that he's the right person to lead this household, then that question should still be left up to him to ask. Because in order for you to have a successful household, this man has to be ready to lead that household.
Makes
And
sense.
so
That makes sense.
he
Yeah.
should be the one that says, will you be my wife? Because I want to lead you and I want to prepare a household. I want our children to have a leader and so on and so forth. But if you take the back seat and be a passive guy and she says, will you marry me? And he loves her. He cares for her, but he had never decided in his mind that this is the woman that I want to go forth in life with. And she puts me on this spot and he says, sure. So now he ends up being Mrs. or Mr. whatever her last name is.
Yeah.
Because she's the one that asked to be married.
Right.
And that's not basically biblically the way it's supposed to go.
Out of order.
And I mean, it's out of order. It's out of order. So when things become out of order, then you live in an out of order manner. Not saying that it won't work,
Right.
but you're just living in an out of order manner.
Right.
true.
I was wondering actually how that would even look. So when you propose, I wonder now because this is a trending thing. So this is happening, right? So I wonder. So when you propose, is the man now wearing the ring?
That's a good question.
I mean, the engagement ring, because now the man is wearing the engagement ring.
giving him?
So what are
Yeah.
you giving him during this proposal? How does that even look? I don't know, but it's happening, and it's a trending topic. It's really happening.
It's
So-
happening, and people are flipping the script on traditional norms. Traditional norms aren't necessarily bad. Traditional norms are traditional because they've worked over the years. And when we start taking things that have worked over the years and throw them out the window, then start exploring new things. Sometimes new things work. Sometimes they work.
Sometimes they do. Sometimes they do.
But
Yeah.
the new thing, will that become a tradition? Because now you start switching roles. And if we're set on living biblically, then we must live traditionally through biblical norms. Biblical norms aren't supposed to change.
Right, but I think that's the thing. I think that it is changing, and we won't get into all the biblical norms that's changing right now. But it is really a thing. I mean, we have moved from tradition, and like you said, sometimes tradition is good. Sometimes we got to move from tradition because someone once said tradition equals frozen success.
Right.
So that means that you're just stuck in this thing, and sometimes we got to move past a position of being stuck. But in this case, I actually do agree with you.
Absolutely.
That I'm just not going to propose
To a man.
Because
I'm just not going to do it.
It looks desperate. It looks like the woman is desperate.
Desperate, and then it looks like she's taking charge. And
Right.
seriously, like when like Steve Harvey talks about the 3 P's, protecting and providing and all those things, you take that away from a man when you decide you're going to be the person that's in charge of this relationship.
It's emasculating.
It's emasculating.
Absolutely.
It really is.
Okay.
And what we have to do though as men is have to teach our sons how to be that man who proposes to a woman when he's decided that this is the type of person that I want to build a family and a relationship with. This is the woman I want to introduce to my mother. This is the woman I want to introduce to my father. This is the woman I want to incorporate into our family. If you don't put that into your son, a sense of family and a sense of relationship, then how do we go forward with this?
Right.
And there's a lack of that stuff in our community where we're not teaching our sons the importance of being family men, the importance of heritage, the importance of lending our lineage to another family member or another person, regardless of the color and ethnicity. But you have to be prideful in who you are and where you come from, and that you want to lend this to another person, regardless of where they come from.
Oh, yeah.
You have to teach your sons that stuff.
Yeah, that's a good segment into our next question.
Hopefully I'll be here.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're good. I think you're doing good. I mean, some people will disagree with you. You know what I mean? I mean, we have women now that's just taking charge all over.
Right.
And so some people will honestly just disagree, and that's okay, because that's what the discussion is for. And that's okay if they disagree. So
Well, women taking charge, I mean, in the society in which we live, it's just almost like being a black man. Sometimes we get put in positions where sometimes we have to take a back seat. And I mean, in corporate America, and empower the black woman to be who she is. Now, if you're married to an empowered black woman who is a CEO or a director or all this other stuff, how do you, as a black man, accept her success and her position of power? I'm married to a woman like that. And for almost 20 plus years, it's like what I have to do is like realize that that's my woman. She's powerful. She's doing big things. But I'm still the man of this household.
Right.
And what she does is she acquiesces. She says, yes, you're right.
Right.
You're the man of this household and you lead.
Right.
And for several years, my wife earned way more money than me.
Right. I think, yeah.
And but at the same time, I didn't feel emasculated by that.
Right.
I felt empowered by it because I
Right.
had a woman that was able to step in and do the things she had to do. But she said,
Right.
"You're still the head of this household."
Right.
And that's reaffirming, and that's what
Right.
women have to
Absolutely.
do with their men.
Absolutely.
Reaffirm
I
the fact
totally
that they're
agree.
the head of the household.
Totally.
And
No, I
as the
agree.
head of the household, you make household head decisions.
There you
Right.
go.
No, I definitely
totally
agree.
agree.
I definitely
Yeah.
agree. I definitely agree. I think to every woman out there, I would just say this. I'm going to say this as a married woman. And I don't know if you agree, but you, as women, we have to make our men feel needed.
Oh,
Yes.
Because
absolutely.
if we don't make them feel needed, then they feel like they have no real value. And so I think affirmations of our men and encouraging them and telling them that we're proud of them and all of those things are very important. And it doesn't matter how much money a person makes or anything like that. We have to, as women, sort of acquiesce, just like you said, and allow the man to lead. And so I do agree with that. I certainly agree with that.
Yeah.
We have,
And as a single woman, I'm divorced, but as a single woman, I definitely agree. You definitely have to encourage your man, in terms of your husband, even if you're dating. But it definitely makes them feel needed, and it makes them feel wanted, and it makes them feel valued. So I think that's important. Yeah.
But where are those men right now? Like, where are they?
They out there.
Where are they?
Out there. I run into them all the time.
Because I talk to so many women that's in this position, and men are very intimidated by their woman because they're making more than them, and they feel like they're the lead because they're making more than them. So,
Well,
where are they?
That speaks to, really, if a man feels that way, then they're probably just
Something
insecure.
insecure.
They're just
Yeah.
insecure.
Are you
And
insecure?
unless there's a
Insecure.
woman,
Yeah.
and even if she makes more money, if she doesn't throw it in his face. So it depends on the woman too.
Right,
She has to
right.
be.
I think it's both.
Show that respect.
I think it's both.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What's the next question? Hit me
So
with
the
it.
next question is, how long should people date before they get engaged?
Engaged.
Yeah.
Wow.
What's your opinion on that?
I really don't have an opinion on time frame. Time helps people figure out who's who. All right, so you can figure it out in a short period of time, or it may take you a long period of time. Because what I've learned is when people show you who they are, that's who they are.
Believe them.
And you have to
Believe
and believe them.
Believe 'em.
Absolutely.
And you have to figure that out. And sometimes it takes a short period of time. Sometimes it takes a long period of time. And so putting a time frame on how long it takes before you get engaged, that's I don't think is relevant or I don't think you can't put a number on it for everybody.
No.
Yeah, you
Absolutely
can't put a
not.
number
So
on
you
it.
have to figure out what's good for you. But again, within whatever time frame that you're looking at, you have to decide when this person shows you who they are, believe who they are because they're showing you.
Right.
Right.
You figure that out in 5 days, or it might take 6 months. So don't put a time frame on your engagement. Figure out who that person is before you decide on how long or whether or not you're going to be committed to them.
Right. There's a lot of women that's been dating these men for a very long time, and they're just basically like, okay, when are you popping the question? When are you popping the question? So at some point, when do we as women kind of walk away and not waste our time on that? Because there's a lot of times that the men are just kind of stringing us along. So from a man's perspective, can you tell us, do you kind of know up front, like, if this is the person, or are you just kind of just like, stringing people along a lot of times, because the women now have not put this in place and put a mandate on you to say, okay, this is where I'm coming from. This is my level of expectation. And so now when you don't meet that level of expectation, then I'm going to move on. So,
All right, my perspective on that is like this. Men know when they're dating and in a relationship with females whether or not this is the person that they want. Now, sometimes we have cold feet and we don't know if we want to pop that question or not. Now, you've dated this guy long enough and you understand that this might be the right guy. Now, in his mind, he think you're the right woman. He wants you to be the right woman. And here's where the dilemma comes in. He's got cold feet, and you know that this is the guy, and you know that he's the guy. But you sit back and say, I'm going to wait on him. His feet ain't going to never get warm. His feet going to always stay cold. So what you have to do is, and I'm serious, my wife did it to me. If you going to be the dude for me, be the dude for me, because I'm gonna walk away. You at 12 months, 6 months, I'm gonna go ahead and go this direction. And when she decided she wanted to go another direction, I said, hey, hold on a second. I think we need to take this up another level.
Right.
You know, it's not like you're forcing him to make a decision, but he knows that he has to make a decision. So when you get to a point where you realize it's like, as a woman, I'm giving this man everything I've given him, and I think that this is good, but we might not go no further. Walk away.
Amen.
Make him make a decision, because it's up to him to make the decision.
Right.
And if he don't make a decision, guess what?
Make a decision
You're
for
free.
yourself.
Right,
Amen.
right.
Because
right.
his decision will be, I'm going to keep her. I'm
Right.
going after her.
Right,
I'm not
right.
letting her go.
Right.
Right. When you value someone, you don't.
When you value someone, you're
do
going to
not
jump
let
out
them
there
go.
and go
No.
get her.
Right.
That's it.
And I ain't saying like ultimatum and like, look, you done put that thing on her for 2 months or whatever, and you're like, oh, look.
Okay. All right. Okay. Come on back. Yeah. All right.
And now it's all about the good.
Right. Okay.
No, it ain't about the good. It's about a real relationship.
That's
If
right.
y'all got a real relationship going.
That's right.
And you think this is the man, and he
That's
know
right.
you the woman. Like this good ain't gonna happen no more.
Okay. I think that's important. Mm-hmm. I think that's important. I mean, I'm not discredited. I'm just joking.
Right.
But yes, no, I do think that's important. Mm-hmm. I do think that's important. I think we got some power. Mm-hmm. I do think we got the power.
Y'all do have the power. Y'all have all the power. And men will tell you all the time, women have the power.
Okay. We can, and I do want to preface this though. I want to stop right here, and I want to preface this because I know there's a growing trend right now with young people. People just right out of high school sometimes. They've dated their high school sweethearts. They've dated for 3-4 years. They're 23, 24 years old. They may have even had a kid by now. So with these, I mean, I don't know that you're quite ready sometimes that early in life. Because sometimes we make some real, our rationalization, decision-making skills aren't quite there at that time. So I do want to preface this and say, because a lot of young ladies are actually waiting for their boyfriends to pop the question because they now given them the baby. They've now, and that's a whole nother topic. So I don't want to go down this road, but sometimes, I just want to preface this and say, when I'm talking about how long you should be dating and things like that, I'm talking really around the 26, 27 when the frontal lobe has fully developed. Mm-hmm. And the frontal lobe doesn't develop for your rationalization skills and decision-making skills until about 27, 28 years.
Talk about it. I was stupid for 30 years. Mine didn't develop until I was about 33, 34.
Well, right, because men develop.
Males,
we not going to talk about the men.
Right.
Yeah,
but that is so true.
Yeah.
Like we were discussing that yesterday. Like I said before, I was married at the age of 20. I was just like 1 week shy of turning 21. And by then, I already had a 6-month-old baby boy. And I was ready. I was ready to be married. I was ready to settle down, do everything, and be the wife and just be the mom.
At 20?
At 20.
Wow.
Because I had been dating this guy since 9th grade. So he was my high school sweetheart. So I knew. So I was ready. At least I thought I was.
Now, I will say this. Some people make it. Some people have been married for 50 years and they've been high school sweethearts. So it happens. And people make it. It's not that you can't make it.
The reason I laugh, you're dating since you're 9th grade, right? And you're living in your parents' house. Mm-hmm. Ain't nobody paid a bill, but you done figured out love already.
True.
So that's what I'm saying. Young people, until you get out into the world and understand what your responsibilities are in the world, then you have to come back for a relationship. Mm-hmm. And that's what we have to try and teach our kids. You have to be prepared for the world first. Relationships, we start liking people when we like in 8th grade, 7th grade, through high school, but we still live with our parents. We don't even have real responsibilities yet.
Right.
But we're developing feelings. So our feelings and our emotional development is far beyond what our cognitive development is about. We don't understand what it's like to pay a bill, to pay for diapers and daycare and all this other stuff that you got to take care of. But we know we love somebody. We want to be with them. But because we with them don't mean them bills gonna get paid.
That's true. That's true.
So we have to be emotionally developed for real relationships first before we can start making these decisions.
That's true. But in my case, we were, at the time when I had my son, we were actually on our own. So I had already sort of experienced taking care of 20.
20 on your own.
Yeah.
Living here in D.C.
Yes, in Southeast D.C.
Was y'all successful?
It was like
y'all was successful.
99. I was in the hood.
Y'all was successful?
Yes, because we were able to pay the rent. So that was successful. And I had a car note. And I was taking care of my baby.
All right.
However, yes, I was always responsible.
I ain't say
no, but I wasn't living at home with the parents. No, I was not that type.
Was it easy or was it hard?
I mean, Yeah, of course, when you're young, it's a struggle. But again, we were both working, so we were able to pay the rent.
Who ready for that at 20?
I mean, back then, this was a long time ago.
I was there with you.
But I mean, rent was $2.99.
You might be older, Shawn. You might be older.
Yeah, you might be older than me. But anyway, rent was $2.99 a month, so I was able to afford that.
It's rough.
I think it was $2. It might have been less than that. But the point is, when we're talking about the whole marriage and ready, so at that time, I had my son, and did I have my son at the time? Maybe I did. No, I was pregnant. So that's what it was. I was pregnant with my son. And at the time, we weren't living on our own. I was on the wait list to get my apartment. But anyway, so I think I was staying with my mom. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so my boyfriend at the time, we were, it was a Monday morning. I think I was off because I was working in the government. It was my Monday off. And he woke up, he was about to go to work, and he said, we had already established that day I was going to go to Prince George's Courthouse to apply for the marriage license. And
by yourself?
By myself. And I was going to get the application. Okay. You know, this was old school. Everything was probably on paper, whatever. So the plan was I was going to go to that courthouse and get the application because we were going to get married. And he got up, before he left out, he said to me, don't go to the courthouse and get those papers. And so that said to me, he wasn't ready. Mm-hmm. He didn't want to get married. And so I said, okay, my feelings were hurt, but I noted to self, I would not bring up marriage. Like, I would not bring it up. I would not say, well, when are we going to get married? Because I had that, enough pride and enough dignity. I'm not about to press no man out.
Right. And you shouldn't.
Yeah, so we went through, had the baby. So my son had to be at least, I had just had him. He probably wasn't even a month old. Mm-hmm. And then at the time, my boyfriend came to me and said, I'm ready to get married. And so we began to plan the wedding. And so within 5 months.
He saw that little boy looking like his image.
I thought about that too. This my baby. Let me go.
I need to do right by her, my baby mama.
Yeah.
Make her your wife. Make her your queen. Man, look, build. That's what we got to do as people. We have to build. We got to quit tearing each other down. And it's like, for real. We have to teach our sons, and this is why I try and tell my sons seriously, like, when you decide that you want to sleep with someone, and regardless of what happens in that encounter, you could actually have a child with this person. So if you're willing to have a child with this person, you should be willing to share the rest of your life with them. And you have to make that decision when you decide that you want to sleep with them. So these are things we have to teach our sons, and we're not teaching our sons that.
Right.
Our sons are on their own out here wilding out, figuring it out, the streets with their homies and everything else. And real relationships, I mean, this stuff happens.
Right.
She ended up liking this thug dude like her, and all of a sudden they done had a kid, but don't nobody know what to do with the baby.
They give him to grandma.
Because exactly, give him to grandma. Because we hadn't taught our sons the value of what it means to sleep with someone, to actually have a relationship with someone. And it's not just about sex, it's about love, it's about family, it's about building every time you have a relationship with someone.
Right. Okay.
So let's go into a little lighter side.
Yeah, come on, help me out with some light
let's
stuff.
Just say
it's almost Valentine's Day, which is why we actually and that's why we actually had this first show on love and relationships, because it's Valentine's Day.
To represent Valentine's Day.
Right, to represent Valentine's Day.
It's love, it's love. Okay, so next question. Do you think are women's expectations for Valentine's Day unrealistic? Is it too high? Are the expectations too high?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Reason being,
your wife is watching it.
I know, but
your wife is watching.
I know she watching. And we just had dinner the other night, a week early. But Valentine's Day. I'm hearing people outside. But Valentine's Day is one of those made up holidays. There's nothing between New Year's and whatever goes on in March. So it's almost like it's one of them economic holidays where the United States do something out there so we can spend money to boost our economy. Because it's BS. If you love your woman and your woman love you, y'all show that throughout the year. and it's almost like I just gave you some for Christmas. And oh, by the way, we just hung out on New Year's. Now it's February, and I gotta show you I love you. Come on, man. Just because it's on the calendar. Nah, it's too much. It's too much.
Men, when you're dating, though, don't listen to Shawn. I mean, don't listen to him if you're dating the one. No, we got somebody.
Is that a hotline?
Right, that's the hotline. Call it in. So we'll take that.
Let's hit it up.
Let's hit it up. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, I'm calling in.
Come
Welcome
on.
to Chattitudes.
Welcome. Who are we speaking with? Who's on the line?
This is Tina.
Hi, Tina. I know Tina. Hi, Tina.
Hi.
Tina, do you have some words for Shawn?
Yes, I do.
Oh. DuShaun, not DuShaun.
Which one?
Yeah.
Holla at
DuShaun.
me. Who? Me or her?
I have some words for the gentleman that's on the
For
panel.
the gentleman.
The
Right.
gentleman.
The gentleman
That's
on
me. Come
top.
on.
For the gentleman.
Holla at me.
Gentleman, yes. Now, you know women love Valentine's Day.
What's she say?
Women
Women
love
love
Valentine's
Valentine's
Day. We getting some feedback. Is this something that she could do with her phone? Or is she on speakerphone? We getting feedback?
I'm listening. Come
Okay.
on. Come on. Okay. Women
Can
love
you
that.
hear me now?
Okay.
I took it off the speakerphone.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, come on. You sound like Medea
So I
on the
just
phone
like
right
to
now.
say that February 14th, women love Valentine's Day.
Got it.
Regardless if you give us something throughout the year, that is our. Okay, so I understand people, say Valentine's Day is a man-made holiday. But that's a holiday for women. We love to be pampered. We love to show that we love them by bringing us flowers, candy. That's our day. Don't take it from me.
I'm not trying to take it from you, baby, but I said, did you forget what I did for you on Christmas?
That doesn't matter.
Huh?
What have you done for me lately? I think as women, we look, what have you done for me lately?
Oh,
Christmas was
Okay,
Christmas.
okay. Valentine's Day come up. Now, I put it to you this way. Every woman is different, and every man is different. Now, in your relationship, if your man knows that you love Valentine's Day, I'll put it this way. Because my wife, she like me. She like, it's just a date. But if my wife loves Valentine's Day, I'm going to make sure I cut back on Christmas and hook her up on Valentine's Day. I promise you that one.
Terrible.
Am I doing wrong? Am I doing wrong?
You're wrong, brother.
I'm wrong?
You're wrong.
Come on now.
You gonna
been
cut
real
back?
cheap.
I
That's
mean,
been
you
real
know
cheap.
what? You were doing good up until you was
Up until
cutting
that.
back on Christmas. Like you were doing good up until the cutback. I mean, I'm just saying.
Okay, because y'all, okay, hold on. What's my caller name again?
Tina.
Tina.
Yes.
Okay. If I do good by you on Christmas, and then we go out and have a good time on New Year's, and I know you love Valentine's Day, what you doing for me on Valentine's Day?
Oh, I'm gonna give you something too.
What? What you giving me?
Well, we can go out to dinner.
You paying? You paying for it?
Flowers.
No.
You paying for it? Hold on, you paying for it?
Yes, I can pay for it too.
So that's a date, and your man just gotta be there, right?
Yes.
We can do that. We always available on Valentine's Day.
But
Not
you have to
everybody.
show up with something.
Right.
Man, look, what you want? What you want after you done paid for dinner?
Is he getting somewhere?
Right.
We going home. What you getting on Valentine's? I mean, you paying for dinner. What you want?
I want flowers,
Got it.
candy.
Got it.
Maybe you can cook dinner.
Huh?
Maybe we don't have to go.
Did she now I gotta pay for dinner? She flipped the script on me?
Yeah, I mean,
No.
I don't see why you can't. I just think you should do it all. That's just me.
Oh, do it
But,
all?
but hold up. But you hit on some key points. Thank you, Tina. We
Thank you.
appreciate you calling in. Thank you so
Okay.
much. But you did. You touched on some key points. Bye, Tina. We love you. You touched on some key points. Here's the key point.
Holla at them for me. Help me out.
The love languages.
Love
So
language.
you said something key. So you said if the woman loves that, then the man should definitely do that. And so that goes into understanding what your love language is. So everybody's love language is different.
Right.
And so the 5 love languages, and we can just kind of talk about them. Words of affirmation, that means that some people love words to help build them. So I say, you doing a great job, honey. So that's my love language. And when I say that to you, then that means that you love me, right?
And I understand what you're talking about.
Right. And so another one is gifts. And so just like you just said, if the woman loved gifts, right? So if her love language is gifts, then you should provide her with gifts, because that to the woman says that you love me. And then the other one is acts of service. And this is the one that's my love language, actually. Doing those small things, cooking a meal. That means so much. Taking out the trash, that means so much to me. The other day, I pulled up and my husband came downstairs and he had the door open for me. That, you know what? That signified to me, because this is my love language style right here. This is my preference, act of service. When you're doing stuff, when you're doing those little things, that means a lot to me. The other one is quality time. You know, some people just love to, if you doing quality time with me and all of these things, so that's their love language. And the last one is physical touch. Some people like to hold hands. Some people like to keep rubbing, keep touching. You don't really have to keep holding my hand or touching me. That's not my love language. But what I say, that's very important. It's very important because when you know your person's love language, you should make sure that you act in those love languages for that person.
Amen.
And so a lot of times what happens is, the man, your love language may be one thing, my love language may be another thing, but what ends up happening in marriages, a lot of times, that person acts in their love language because that is what works for them.
Right.
But it's very important when you love someone to understand what their love language is and what their personality traits are.
But when you're acting in that love language and you know that you're acting in that love language, what you have to get is feedback in order to affirm that love language, because I could be speaking to you in my love language, and if you don't affirm that you heard what I'm saying, I don't know if I'm doing it right.
But here's the thing. So that's the point I'm making. It doesn't matter what your love language is. So you're speaking, and that's the problem in a lot of these marriages and relationships. I'm not just saying marriage, single people. So when you don't know that person's love language, right? So case in point. So me and my husband, who I love dearly. So me and my husband, right? So we're totally opposite, right? We're totally opposite. I'm an extrovert all the way to this end. He's an introvert all the way to that end. And somewhere we meet in the middle. So it works for us. So my preference is, like, I like to be energized by a lot of people in a room. I like to be energized with noise. That's my language. I love all of that. So that's my personality trait. He likes to be very quiet to himself in a room by himself. I can't be in a room by myself. I need a lot of noise. And so one day I was working on my dissertation letter and my paper, and he actually took the girls and he said, we're going to go for a ride, so that you could be by yourself, so you could have that time. But when they left, I was so sad. I was like, why are they leaving me? So I called him on the phone and I said, well, where are you? I'm going to come and meet you all, because you know what? Because that's his preference to be alone. It's not my preference.
Right.
So I love the people there. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it is very important. And me and my husband have this thing, and we say, what can I do to make your day better? We wake up in the morning, we say it, and if we don't say it, it's inferred. What can I do to make your day better? It's a selfless act. It's, so I'm not really focused on me. I'm focused on him. And he's not really focused on him. Now he's focused on me. And so when you know what my love language is, now you got to operate in my love language. And now I got to understand what yours is. But a lot of times people don't understand what they are. And so what happens is they begin to operate in their own love language. And then to them, it just get all mixed up in between.
Okay.
So do you know what your wife's love language is?
Me?
Yeah. So besides you?
No.
See? And so that's something that you all can talk about. It's something that you can talk about.
I'm going to talk to her tonight about it. Outside of me, what's your love language?
Right. And that's very important. And you know what I found, though? People that's been married for many years don't know what the other person's love language is.
Oh, my bad. I know what her love language is. It's Spanish. I say, Hala Español, I love you, sweetheart. That's my Spanish. That one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you just start speaking in Spanish?
I did.
Oh my goodness.
Next question.
Yeah, next question. So, so when your wife, say, like, for instance, it's your wife's birthday and your wife say, and it's not just even wife, but just in the relationships, and they say, oh, you don't have to get me a gift. Do you still get a gift?
Good question.
No.
see how. I mean,
Wrong answer.
that's the wrong answer.
I see, and that's that love language and that understanding who you are. Listen, my wife know I am practical. I'm simple as HE double hockey stick. Simple. When you tell me you don't want nothing, I ain't getting you nothing. It's that simple. Am I right, men? Okay, my producer over there saying, don't.
I say I don't want anything. I want something.
No,
like a card.
A
candle, something. Just give me something.
But don't say you don't want nothing. Don't say you don't want nothing. Don't say you don't want nothing. Don't say that. Don't say that. Because when you say you don't want nothing, guess what you're going to get? A big old box filled with air. Because you said it.
But I think you should just know it.
No, it ain't no just know it. See, y'all inferring that we're supposed to understand what y'all understand. When y'all tell us no, we don't want nothing, you're going to get nothing. You said it.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Then I'm saying, okay, this is from the man perspective.
We gotta respect your opinion. We respect. We respect.
Tell me you don't want nothing, you don't get nothing.
We respect it.
So when we tell y'all we don't want nothing and we don't get nothing, we ain't mad.
But see, I would still get something anyway.
And we say, what you waste your money? Why you spend money on this for? I told you I ain't want nothing.
Because I'm a natural giver.
But I feel like
why'd you ask me?
And I think you should be grateful when we get it.
We are, but then okay, look.
I think you should be
grateful.
grateful.
We talking about relationships. We talking about money in the same pot and everything. And I told you I ain't want nothing. Now you wasting money on something I told you I ain't want. Now we can't get the baby a diaper.
Well, I don't think that.
I'm exaggerating, but I'm serious. Right. It's like when we say we don't want nothing, we don't want nothing. All we want
depends on the individual.
Is look, when I say I don't want nothing, because I work hard, very hard. I have everything I want. Mm-hmm. And if I tell my baby, thank you for thinking about me, sweetheart, but I don't want nothing. Don't give me nothing because I'm good.
I know it's hard for it's hard for me in particular because I love to give gifts. I'm a giver. I'm a natural giver, and I know my husband really doesn't like cards. He does not like cards.
Then
but
don't ask.
I know, but every time I get him a card, I think he reads it for a second, and then I don't know, and then he puts the card down. The card is flat down on. I mean, I don't know, but he told me he doesn't like cards. But every holiday I give him a card because I love him.
Of course he gonna read it. It's from his wife. I'ma read it. I'ma read it. Oh man, she said, yeah, it's sentimental, but it's sentimental for that moment, and then I'm not gonna throw it away in your presence.
Oh, but you gonna throw it away?
What am I do with it? I didn't heard what you said.
Don't throw it away.
Don't throw it. Well,
don't throw cards away.
Don't throw cards away.
All right, we ain't gonna throw them away, but at the same time, look, listen to each other. We was talking about communication.
Communication, that's true. Listen
to what your mate tells you.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
Next question.
You're just killing me today, Shawn.
That's what I do. Hope y'all let me. Y'all bring me back.
I don't know. We're gonna think about it. We're gonna think about it.
Y'all callers call in and tell them y'all want me to come back because I'm being as truthful as I possibly can.
No, we appreciate your honesty.
Yeah.
No, we definitely appreciate your honesty. We appreciate
you to bring me
Do
back.
you ever tell a woman that they're fat? Like, do you ever say that? Would you ever say that?
No.
Okay.
No. Here's my perspective on that one. Now. It's like sometimes you guys will set us up with questions that you already know the answer to.
But what is your response to that though?
My response is, one, I would never want to hurt a person's feeling that I love.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I never want to hurt a person's feeling I love. And you have to weigh your response to understand that if I say this, even if I'm being honest, and I love being honest, but this gonna hurt. So I would just not say nothing. And my stupid look will tell you your answer.
Wow.
Go ahead, ask me that question if I believe you fat.
Shawn, I don't want I don't want to lose.
I want to show the audience what I do.
Credibility if you say that I'm fat on the air right now, so I'm not gonna ask that question.
No, I don't want you.
We're gonna pretend. We're gonna
fat.
pretend. Okay, Shawn, do you think I'm fat?
I can't. No. Well.
See, I'm not answering that question.
But I think that that's an inferred answer.
It's not inferred. You shouldn't ask the question. You know they ain't gonna answer.
We want you to tell us that we look good.
You do, because if we don't say nothing to you about your weight, if we don't say anything about you, you are fine by us.
Okay.
Yeah, but sometimes women want to feel validated as well.
Hold on a second, okay.
Because you all continuously want to feel validated as men.
Both
we want to continue to stroke your egos and all of those things, but we need the same thing too.
Okay, but the question shouldn't be, am I fat?
Why not?
The question should be something like this. Baby, do you find me attractive? Mm-hmm. Baby, how do I make you feel? Mm-hmm. Things like that, because men are visual creatures. Mm-hmm. And we know what you look like 20 years ago. And we still with you, and we still good with you. So we're not sitting around here talking about, man, I sure wish she looked like she looked 20 years ago. She wish I almost cut. She wish you looked like you looked 20 years ago.
Okay.
So it's not about am I fat or am I attracted? Are you attracted to me? Mm-hmm. Do I still get you going? Do I still make your motor go? Mm-hmm. Those are the questions y'all need to ask.
Okay.
Y'all asking vague questions that's out of the ordinary.
Well, when we ask you, are we fat? Just say, no, you're not fat. No.
Well, it's not about being fat. Y'all fat. Y'all pretty hot and tempted.
Okay.
PHAT.
On that note, so Shawn and I, we're going to actually prepare for our final thoughts, and they're called our victory viewpoints.
Yes.
And so
I gotta go.
Now you can stay. You stay right here, sir. Don't you move.
Right.
Don't you move.
Stay right here, Shawn.
Stay right here. We're going to come back in a few minutes, and we actually have our family here. They are our support system, and we want to really just introduce you to our family. Next week, we have a very dynamic subject, teen domestic violence. This is Teen Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and we do actually have a survivor here of teen domestic violence. You want to hear her story.
It's
very interesting.
Just very powerful. She is a survivor of a attempted murder-suicide. So you definitely want to tune in next week.
You definitely want to tune in next week for that.
Yeah.
But don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be back in 2 minutes. We want to introduce you to our family. This is very important to us, and we're just so happy that you're here with us today, and we're excited. Thank you so much. Give us 2 minutes, and we'll be right back with you. Don't go anywhere. If you go somewhere, come right back. All right.
See ya.
We did good?
Hey, Chuck! Talk to me, Pastor Mitchell. I don't know about you, but I've had all kinds of friends in my life. I think I've been right down that road with you. Yeah, I had some so-called friends. Yes. When trouble came, they went the other way. Tell me about it. But one thing I'm glad about, that ain't a friend like the lonely Jesus. No. Well, no. Jesus, can't nobody do me like the Lord. Can't nobody do me like Jesus. He's my friend. Can't nobody do me like Jesus. Jesus healed my body. Well, he told me to run on. Jesus is my friend. Well, you know he picked me up and he turned me around. Jesus picked me up
Welcome back. Now we're here and we're going to have our victory viewpoints before we end the show. So thanks again. I just wanted to give a few words of encouragement. Love is not measured by whether we receive gifts from our significant others on Valentine's Day. Whether we're single, in a relationship, or married, we owe it to ourselves to love ourselves first, to learn how to love ourselves. And we do that by understanding and receiving the love of God. Then and only then can we learn how to love anyone else purely, unselfishly, fully, and freely. So this Valentine's Day weekend, go love on yourself, love on your family, love on your friends. And I just want to let you know that I love you, we love you, and God loves you more.
Mm-hmm. The Bible says, and now these three remain, faith, hope, and love.
Amen.
But the greatest of these is love. We say good night to you guys, and we're going to look at our families, and we're going to walk over to our family as
Yes.
our family wave goodbye to you guys. All right. Family. Thank you. It's our family in the studio with us today. This is Mom, and this is daughters, and this is my husband. Thank you guys. See you next week.
Come on and join us. We're gonna have a good time. Listen up, check us out. Use the hotline now to chime. Come on and join us. There's lots of surprise for you. Fun and family, with great fellowship too.
Crystal and Shawn have exciting words. I'm sure there's something that you've never heard. Sunday at 6, it's an excellent mix. We got spiritual flair, special guests will be there.
Come on and join us. We're here and waiting for you. Connect with us at 6 o'clock. We wanna share in all you do. Come on and join us. Come right here and find. Connect with us and share your thoughts. We wanna explore your mind. Chattitudes, Chattitudes.
What's your attitude?
Chattitudes, Chattitudes.
What's your attitude?
Chattitudes, Chattitudes.
What's your attitude?
Chattitudes, Chattitudes.
What's your attitude?